Things are starting.
Price?
So now, have you heard of the Hyper Freak athlete? No, Freak. I really don't like the front page stuff that Twitch does, where it's just like, well, that's just.
I was just telling Nat about that shit. It drives me insane. I hate it.
It was very loud and very obnoxious. It was like
Yes.
screeching. I was like,
Why is it so mad at you?
is that person's
What did you
stream,
do?
dude?
Oh,
I don't know, man.
Anyway.
Have you heard of the Freak Athletes reverse hyper? It's like the ultimate thing for a home gym because it takes up like no space and it can perform at least 9 functions. You can do like why am I on another stream?
Are you talking about like a Nordic rack?
Yeah, similar to the new Nordic rack thing that they're releasing. There's a bunch of them that I've seen, but that one that Anthony's talking about is different than that. But like,
It's called the
there's like
Hyper
4 or
Pro.
5
Hyper Pro.
Yeah, so you can do, you know, the what is it? The Nordics. It's a Nordic bench.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh, this looks expensive. I haven't even seen the machine. I know the thing is
But like it can
expensive.
do it. It's like after you have a home gym setup, this is like the thing that can cover like every single leg thing you could possibly want to do.
I see.
And it takes up like no space because it stands up straight.
Okay, so
really
I'm
cool.
looking at this and it says Hyper Pro, and they're all these are all hydraulics.
They're not hydraulics. No, no, no.
No, I'm looking at the wrong one.
Oh,
It's
okay.
at EPM Performance. No, it's not. Never mind. Not EPO either. Where is the actual website for this thing?
Freakathlete.co.
Oh, thank you. Sorry.
Where's the chat? Eric, did you collaborate?
Freak Athlete Hyper Pro.
I did.
There we
We're
go.
all shared.
You know, I was able to join our old collaboration invite from 3 days ago.
Oh, wow. That is expensive AF.
How much is it?
They are all pretty expensive,
1,300.
but I think for what you're
This is pretty
getting,
competitive. Yeah.
like the idea of having a one-stop shop for a home gym instead of building out a multi-$1,000 home gym
Multi-item. Yeah.
is just insanely
Indeed.
good value.
Coop from Garage Gym Reviews, who's reviewed like every single freaking thing in the world and has a whole company behind it. He's like, this is like the first company that's making a home gym exercise machine. It's like everything else is made for a gym, and then we find it and we're like, okay, this is small enough, this is affordable enough, this can do a home, let's do this in our home gym.
Got you.
So
I will say it's got a lot of stuff that I pretty much look for
right,
anyway.
Oh yeah.
it's
There's
insane
a
how many
bunch
things you
of them
can
that
do.
are so cool. There's one with a I can't remember if it's magnetic or engine based, but it's this pulley system where everything's on the ground and it has a flat pad, and you can buy one of the, it has its own one-stop shop bench that has like all the Nordic stuff, has all the different things, but with this pad you put the bench on the pad and you can put the bar with the thing above it, and now with that setup you can do any bench exercise, any bench press, decline, incline, however you want to do it. You can do deadlifts, you can do squats, you know, front squats, back squats, you can do deadlifts, you can do bicep curls. Then with the bench, you can do all the things that like these other benches are doing. Now you're paying, I think the whole setup is like 10 grand or something.
Jesus
like that.
Christ, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's just
no.
stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
no.
the thing
Yeah. No.
but
No, not worth it. Not worth it.
the
I don't even want to hear your explanation, Eric. Absolutely not.
all I'm
This is
getting
coming from the
at
guy
is
that wants a $9,000 cold plunge.
Hey,
What?
no, I am just saying that it
Crazy.
replaces
Crazy,
way
man.
more than that in equipment. Whether you think that's worth it or not.
Yeah, but
I
this
mean,
one's
that's
$1,300.
debatable. Oh yeah, they're like,
No,
if you're just looking
cost-wise,
for
they're fine.
value,
Yeah,
like one of the benches is 10 times better value.
for sure.
But this thing has like, you can deadlift 800 pounds off of this one machine, up to like 800.
But you need a
pounds.
subscription to do so.
No, there's no subscription for it.
I'm pretty
It's
sure.
just a
I'm pretty sure I've
full
seen what
machine.
you're talking about. And there's a subscription.
really.
I'm pretty sure.
No, I don't think this is the same machine.
Maybe not. But the Hyper Pro is really cool. I actually got the original, so you'll be able to check it out when you're here.
Okay, I'll try it.
Oh, I have no
But that-
background because I'm on the wrong scene like a dummy. Thanks, Ash.
The-
And then there's
that
no.
$10,000 machine. It sounds. I understand the investment mindset of it because it's not. It's like it's $5,000 more than like what it costs to get a power rack at home. Like I get that mental jump of being like, well, if I'm gonna be getting a power rack anyway with all the weights and everything, why don't I just buy an all-in-one solution to my problems?
I mean, if you're getting a new power rack and you're like of the mindset that I'm building a home gym, I want to get a nice power rack, then you should just do the power rack. You're going to spend way more. Like a nice home gym is going to cost you
Wait,
upwards of 20K easy.
you mean a squat rack?
Yeah. No, your power rack is a little bit different from squat
Yeah.
rack.
What, like
It's a little
an
bit
alt, like a Bowflex basically, where they have attachments for.
No.
I almost swore at you for no
These-
reason.
The difference between a squat rack and like a power rack
I was like, you don't
is-
deserve that. Go ahead.
is essentially the amount of weight that you're going to be able to put onto it
Yeah.
and the power of the structure. So when you start moving into power rack systems, you're looking at things that can literally do everything that a gym would normally have at weights that the
The
gyms
major
would be
lifts.
able to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And when you start looking into those systems, you can't just buy a squat rack that, a normal person would be able to use. You have to really start looking into systems that have mounting setups, stronger structures, a bunch of different attachment capabilities, and you have to start buying individual pieces that are hundreds of dollars a piece and start building out your home gym.
So overbuilding is like the start for that. Like
Yeah.
if you look at any of Rogue's racks, the reason why they're so popular is that they are overbuilt. Like they are built for bear.
Yeah.
But
You
like
could probably drop a fucking 18-wheeler on that, it'd be fine.
Yeah. And my sister's been building it up for like 10 years now, but costing out her gym, she's like, nah, my gym has been a 15-year investment of well over
money.
20 grand
Yeah,
to build
yeah.
up all of the equipment that she has. Like you don't build it up all at once.
Kettlebells,
Right.
your leg press, your horizontal leg press machine, your lat pull, that you like it. The list goes on and on. Honestly, it's actually terrifying.
And now to kind of full circle that, to have one multi-use
do it? I
automatic
mean,
machine that does that
10 grand is not
for
bad.
10 grand that's starting to breach.
What
Now,
is
here's
this
the
thing called, Eric? This
I'm trying to
mysterious,
find it.
this mysterious
I'm-
etherness
Also,
thing.
I'm trying to
while
find
you're
it.
trying to
I'm
while you're trying to
literally
find
looking
it,
it up.
also, question there is, yeah, that's all well and good. Where is it made?
The Freak Athlete one.
No,
Or the
well, I know the
$10,000
Freak
one.
I know the Freak Athlete one is built somewhere. It's not built in America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nice thing about the Freak Athlete one, though, for me, was that we have the original, and for only like 50 extra bucks, we can upgrade ours to the new version. They have like a upgrade pro kit, so that it's not like left behind and can't do all of the new things.
Okay,
Yeah. So they're pretty cool. They're pretty cool.
not bad, not bad.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool.
What are we
Yeah.
drinking?
So what are we drinking? And why am I the only one that cares about Halloween?
What do you mean? I
at you
literally
guys.
wore
This is
my
Spirit Box, dude.
dude. I wore my Unisana
Both of you
shirt
are
with
Yeah.
death.
so subtle. You just got like one little spot. Like how, I can't even read that. I can't even see that.
Hey,
Can't even
but
see
This
that.
was it.
I have
This
a
was
big
it.
giant
This was
ghost
my
on me.
Halloween. Your ghost blend, actually, I'm gonna be totally
Literally,
real with you.
giant letters,
I didn't-
spooky.
I didn't see. It's backwards for me.
Can't read it.
Oh, really?
Remember,
For
your
real.
camera's in
Your camera
reverse
is
for
flipped,
us,
dude. Oh, don't you feel silly now?
so we couldn't read it. And
Since when was it in
I
reverse?
didn't know there was a
It's
ghost.
been in inverse since we've been doing this, man.
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
Shiza.
Your mic has always been on the right side of my screen.
Yeah, it's always
no.
been that way.
Oh no.
I'm like looking at it. I gave it. What is this? I gave Eric such a hard time for weeks about everything being in reverse on his screen, and y'all didn't say anything.
It's because we met immediately after
It's
we
because
started the
we
podcast.
were waiting for this moment to
knew
say,
it was
"Gotcha."
coming. We knew it was coming.
Oh my god. We're almost done with this.
always.
We're on 21.
We are. I was showing
Yeah.
that. Y'all can see it in the background over here. The next Flaviar, maybe.
Oh yeah, I got mine today. Hey guys, I'm screwed.
Why?
No,
you
not
mean?
again.
What do you mean?
What is that?
Why is it
empty?
What do you mean?
It
Yeah.
leaked.
It leaked.
No.
Oh,
Another one bites the dude. Flaviar?
I was actually looking forward to this one too.
Flaviar? It's an Irish whiskey. I saw that.
I know.
This is the second thing in my box that is,
Flaviar?
and this one's worse.
Man.
Get your dude, Flaviar.
Yeah, Flaviar's QC has to step it up like a notch.
This
Like,
is
Oh yeah,
Not
look, you can
great.
see. I don't know if y'all can tell, but the cap is
Oh
not.
yeah, no, I can tell.
on.
Yeah, I can
I could tell.
Yeah. I could tell
can
immediately
tell.
whenever you lifted it. I was like, oh, why
Yeah.
is it aged? Randomly?
Yeah, it looked like discolored. I was like, oh no, that leaked.
Well, good,
Okay,
looks like
okay,
I get
okay.
a contact
22.
support again, and I don't think I've even received
Do you have
the
22?
probably.
Check 22 because hopefully it didn't leak on the complete bottom half.
I don't think I've even received the compensation one that they were supposed to give me for the first mess up.
Lame. Okay, well I got 22.
I have 22 as well, and it's like more full than the rest.
It's like
Really?
ew.
Like,
my
is
God,
y'all's
they
ever
knew.
been filled to the brim like this?
No, mine has
was
like a little
also-
bit of space. Let's see if it focuses. See the air bubble?
Yeah.
Dude, I have a concern that just arose. A big concern.
What's that, bud?
How, I mean, this is probably not possible, right?
How much cocaine is in this whiskey bottle?
For a second, well, I'm just like, remember, some of them have been really bad. What if we've had cross contamination?
No.
Whiskey mixes between.
I would
I-
hazard to guess no.
I don't think so. Just because of how this is set up, I have a strong feeling that most of this is a manual process of filling these. And because of that, I don't think cross contamination would be my worry, but you want to know what it would be my worry?
No, don't do this.
They have the wrong
Totally
alcohol in it.
incorrect whiskey in a bottle.
Yeah.
Because what likely happens, just to kind of think about it, they have these bottles, they have this sticker situation. They put on the sticker, they have the cap, they have it open. And they go through and they put all of the 22s. They line up how many 22s they want to make. And then somebody's going to go in and pour out all of these bottles of whiskeys into these glasses, right? And then they're going to close it up. It is entirely possible that one of those vials that they had on their table when they're all together wasn't a 22 vial and they never noticed.
Yeah.
And it could have been a 20 vial. And then if the next person is going through and putting those into boxes, theoretically, I could see how they put a 20 into or 22 into a 20 or something like that, you know? So far, my taste buds have aligned relatively enough to what they're saying that
But sometimes we've been like, wait, what? What are they getting at? Where's that? They say this is in
fair.
it.
That's fair.
And of
But I
course,
think,
there's
like-
a lot of similarities amongst whiskeys.
Yeah, but I think just through pure happenstance, like I've been able to tell when we've had a rye versus like Irish whiskey versus, you know, oh, this is a finished whiskey and we're trying a finished whiskey. Yeah, so to some degree, I would say with some degree of certainty that we're at like 90% at least in our anecdotal experience. However, as a statistical probability across full-scale production to everybody, I bet you that has happened.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not trying 21, which is saddening because a new Irish whiskey by Limavady. I don't know how to pronounce that. They're a new company. I haven't tried Limavady. It's in Ireland.
Yo,
It's
what's
actually
up?
a place in
Biking.
Ireland.
Sorry.
Bike.
Thanks for the follow, sir. Or ma'am. How would I know?
How
no.
would you know? Indeed.
Let's see. How do you pronounce this word?
Limavagen.
Limavady.
Are you talking about the like this
What are you
traditional
doing?
like Scotch?
No, it's like a it's Limavady
Libbidi-bidi.
according to YouTube, which will do better than I will do for sure. Limavady. So it was from Limavady, Ireland, and we're not going to get to try that, which sucks because the
very excited.
I was, and particularly this, I'm going to tell y'all right now. Actually, no, I shouldn't even give any predisposed notion. Pour number 22.
Y'all could
Okay.
still drink number 21 if y'all want.
I might
So,
pour 21. Just
For
to try it.
for our new viewer that nobody knows who this is, this oink to
That's
oink to
funny.
oink bacon person, we have no idea who that could be. Obviously.
No idea. It definitely couldn't be somebody that we know. Nobody would ever use that name.
No.
Right?
So,
100%.
That name.
sometime last year we started doing this podcast thing where we drink whiskey because we went on a whiskey excursion in the whiskey town of old called Louisville. And so now we talk
You
about
said
video
it.
games occasionally and drink whiskey every time.
Yeah. We essentially
pretty
try a
sweet.
new whiskey every week.
Yeah,
talk
every
about
Monday.
it, rate it.
Yeah.
You can see all of our videos
We,
up on YouTube.
We got the Flaviar Advent calendar because financially it helps out a lot.
That's
But
fair.
it has been
It's
very hit or miss. I just
So far.
opened. Where'd it go? Did I already lose it? I just took out 21 because today we're supposed to be doing 21, and it leaked all over the place. It's just gone.
It's truly just disgusting.
One day I
Good
had
day.
like a duplicate, and also sometimes literally the whiskey's just terrible, like absolutely terrible. Like one tasted literally
we've had
like
a few.
swamp butt,
Yeah, we have a Swamp Walk whiskey that we did.
swamp water.
We had the infamous Robitussin episode.
Don't. God.
Oh my
We're
god.
tasting whiskey today. Whiskey today.
Okay, have
Whiskey.
y'all nosed this whiskey yet?
No.
It smells almost like a rye.
It does have a little bit of a rye smell. I know why that is. If y'all don't want me to give any information,
Don't
I can.
say it. Ooh, it does definitely give
But
me
it-
rye. It gives me dates.
I could see that.
Excuse me.
I could see dates, raisins.
It just smells very light,
It does smell very light.
though it's very dark.
It is misleading. This is
Misleading.
interesting. This is very sweet.
It does have a sweeter smell.
It smells like I would like it.
Okay. That is something we always like to hear.
I feel like they
Yeah,
almost
we like
always
to
smell
hear
like I
that.
would like it.
I just like the smell.
I just like the
good
taste.
bourbon.
I just like the smell of the taste of the bourbon. You know,
Okay, well, cheers to
Oh, I didn't drink.
episode 34. You did not.
I did not.
You
Okay.
you basically
Did
did.
not.
You basically did.
I did not. Don't lie to me.
So, this one is actually pretty interesting. It's by Highwire Distilling. They are actually, so I think this may be our first Carolina whiskey on the podcast. I don't think we've done a whiskey from South Carolina or North Carolina yet. And
I've got 2 that we got to do.
2.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Two?
because
So we have to
because
do
he actually-
Rua's single malt because it's
Yeah.
incredible.
You talked about that like the time before last, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, and we have to
I'm
do this
excited
one.
to try that one.
The
You're frozen. Oh,
Oak Lore,
Oh,
because I literally know the dude that is part of this.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to now.
Oak lore.
Oh my God, this is from batch number 1.
Oh, nice.
We can't
What?
open this.
Oh, we gotta open it. We have to try batch.
You have to bring. You have to bring it.
can't
We have to taste it.
Sorry, guys. I'm just kidding.
So, Highwire Distilling
you.
is out of Charleston. I actually had the luxury to try some of this whiskey in Charleston. Some of the, not this one in particular, I think, but I've tried a few of their different whiskeys. I haven't had their bourbon yet, which this is. This is the
This is the
Jimmy
bourbon.
Red Straight Bourbon. Now, Highwire Jimmy is notorious in the sense that they use a red corn for their whiskey across the board. This red corn typically has a harsher flavor, and that's
lot of
what's giving
tobacco.
off that rye vibe. What was that?
Is that tobacco? I think it's a lot of tobacco flavor.
I could see that, but I think I would attribute it more to the typical spiciness, almost like a peppery or a red pepper,
Oh, okay.
kind of that. It's a less bready rye flavor. Like it tastes hot almost. I get a lot whenever I try the red corn whiskeys, which I have a few of them in my repertoire. I always seem
Don't
to
say
get
it like that. My repertoire.
Eric,
my repertoire.
Eric, I must remind you,
Back of his throat.
we are drinking whiskey, not wine.
Ooh, what are you trying to
fair.
say? What are
Trying
you
to say the audience is different.
Fair.
Okay.
Have you seen Yellowstone? Have you seen Tulsa King? Have you watched any of these? Have you seen
that's
Peaky Blinders?
An episode or two.
I'm just teasing.
However, the Peaky Blinders is one that I want to watch. I'm gonna sit down and binge that one.
I thought you didn't like it.
I was gonna say.
I saw like 1 or 2 episodes and it didn't hook me, but I've heard from enough people that it's amazing, and
really
I've
good.
seen enough small scenes that I'm like, I need to watch this at some point. It's just one of those shows where, especially this year, the time hasn't been there for me to sit down and binge a show. I don't think I've fully watched a show that was over 10 episodes this entire year.
Damn.
Most shows
He's been
are
busy.
10 episodes or less nowadays.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I've watched. Those are
Oh,
the
I meant
only
per
types of
season.
shows.
I meant per season.
Yeah, I don't think I've watched over 10 episodes of a singular show this entire year, like across the board. And I want to be able to have some time to like sit down and watch Peaky Blinders and like burn through it, you know? And I haven't had that this year.
If only you had like a trip coming up.
Yeah, that might be one of the things I do on the flight. I'm going to download a bunch of different shows that I've been meaning to
Dude.
watch.
Before you do, just know, because I discovered this during our great power outage of 2024. There are some of those apps that will only let you keep something downloaded for like 7 days.
Oh,
Dude, Ted
yes.
Lasso is the
Ted Lasso?
best show I've
Oh my
seen in like
gosh,
forever.
It's so amazing. Ted Lasso is an amazing show.
I've already rewatched it.
I have too. I actually have too. One of the best shows on any network, especially over the past few years. I love Ted Lasso. It was solid.
Was his name Jamie? Jamie?
Anthony.
I don't think you know how healthy that
Jamie
is.
Tart.
Yeah, Jamie
Jamie
Tart.
Tart.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to be me, coach. Why would I
Such a
want to
good
be a
show.
lion? Oh my god. But yeah,
So yeah, I have to say,
they are and make them guess.
the red corn gives every single one of Highwire Distilling's whiskeys a very distinct flavor. I don't think there's any other whiskey on the market that has the same almost fructose burn that Highwire Distilling does. And it's very unique. And if you like that flavor profile, this is pretty much the only whiskey on the market that gives it to you.
Now, has your background been
I
red
will
this whole
say-
time?
No, it just turned red.
You
Okay,
just
because
turned
of the
it
red corn.
No, I didn't do it. No.
You didn't do it?
No, I didn't. So I'll answer your question first, Eric. I'll say something to what Eric mentioned, and then I'll explain what's going on over here. So we have a distillery close to us called Austin Still, and their mash bill includes red corn. And so I was like, that is spot the fuck on. Like the bitterness and kind of the sweetness to it, I totally catch it. So, not to say that it's an immediate copy, there are some very very big differences, but definitely can go ahead and pinpoint that red corn now that you've said it. As for the red lights, you guys can't see it, but my wife has a cutout of a creepy face on the window.
Oh, nice.
And the red light backlights it, so out from the front you just have a bunch of normal windows, and then there's just the one with the creepy face with too many teeth smiling at you. So it's nice. It is, it's a little creepy sometimes. I just try not to look away,
Yeah.
No thanks. No thanks. Ash wants me to 3D print like a giant T-Rex. Apparently, some dude did that. It would take 6 straight months
Yeah, it's gonna
of
take a while, dude.
non-stop printing.
Wait, okay. So you said this, and the scope of large, like you didn't tell me a size.
Okay.
The scope of large was there in my head, but not there. So how big is this thing? Can you give me some
This
dimensions
dude,
here?
this dude 3D printed a life-size T-Rex statue thing.
1-to-1.
Yeah.
Wait. Life size as in it was the
One to-
size
one
of
to
an
one.
actual
Eric,
Yes.
dinosaur?
And it's in his backyard now. He 3D printed every single
sounds
part
like
of it
some
and put it
millionaire
together.
Bullshit. Look,
I
this sounds
mean,
like some millionaire.
I do wonder how
bullshit.
much money
There's
that would
no
cost.
way.
It probably only
no
cost
way.
him, maybe $1,000.
No,
in
Eric. I'm
plastic.
not
That's true.
talking money. I'm talking time. I'm talking like you have.
No. But this was mostly automatic.
Yeah,
right?
I get that.
He had to do.
How are
He had to
you?
put
No,
it together.
he did this in. You said he put this together in 6 months, right?
No, I'm telling you, if I turn my printer on now and ran
It's
it
gotta
full
run for
time,
6 months.
non-stop printing,
It would
that's
take
6
6
months of
It would
printing.
take some- How long did it take him to put it together?
At least 2
It's
years.
150 kilograms. So that's 150 times $13 if you're not buying expensive stuff for just the filament.
Guys, that's why I'm saying like,
$2,000.
normal people can't print this kind of stuff, man. You can't tell me that that's not some bored freaking millionaire who's
No,
like,
dude,
I
it's
really like
just
30
a
3D printing.
random nerd.
No,
That's crazy.
he won the lottery or some bullshit, and he's not telling anyone.
I mean, I could see that. It's like, Nat, tell me. And this is actually an interesting conversation. Well, year by year, and I've seen a few articles about that. How much time and money do you think you put into your main hobby?
Now or before?
First,
At any
don't
point
tell
in
us your main hobby if it's NSFW.
Well, you can. I mean, I don't think we
I
care.
think it would have come up by now. Whatever.
We know what you
Especially
used
if it
to.
was your main hobby.
Yeah. Like you guys come into my room and there's just like a random hook hanging from the ceiling. And it's just like, there's that.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
No judgment.
50
No
Shades of
judgment
Red.
whatsoever. If you guys have a hook inside your bedroom, no shade. Kink on, please. Like, Whatever. What was I gonna say? God damn it.
So your main hobby, Nat, how much
Yeah.
time and money do you think you put into that per year?
So if you just go to
I'm doing the per year
/played on World of
year.
Warcraft.
Dude, you guys know that the Warcraft thing is literally the most recent thing. It's been like 2 months because you guys nostalgia baited me into this game.
Or
What? Okay, time out. Time the fuck out. There has been many a time where we have tried really hard to get you to play a game like World of Warcraft in the past. This time,
You had me
this
on
time-
you had me on a call
Anthony,
together.
Anthony, you do not
reminiscing.
have
I
to
didn't
go
ask
through
you to play.
this
You were just like-
self-guilting. No, Anthony, you're going too far. Because when I have been playing with Nat, he talks about all of the different expansions like he played them. And then I figured out, oh, wait a second, he fucking has. He just lied to us about it.
No, actually, I haven't played any of the expansions. I just keep up. Honestly, like the only expansion that I ever played after Kata was Pandaria for like a second with you guys.
I didn't
then,
play
like,
Pandaria.
literally, it was like a week or two.
I did Pandaria for a little bit.
Yeah, I played with a little bit with Eric. I think maybe with Robbie as well, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I did. Let's see. I think I've played a lot of every expansion except for Shadowlands, probably. Shadowlands was probably my least played expansion.
I didn't play any of them, Eric.
And honestly, you want to know why Shadowlands was probably my least played expansion?
Why?
It's because that's around when Classic came out, and I just played Classic instead.
I'm not a fan of. You know what? I'm not gonna fall down that rabbit hole. I see your trap. I see your trap card, Yugi.
Yes,
you're a second-
okay. Just because you brought it up, my guilty pleasure of late has been, so for anybody in the audience who doesn't know, I've been playing Magic the Gathering since I was like 6. And so I've always been a huge Magic the Gathering fan. When I was a kid, I like collected Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards, but I never really watched them. Or I never really played them or kept up with them, especially after I was a kid. Whereas Magic, I've kept up with it most of my life. Like I've played Magic as recently as like a month ago for a long time, right? I still get on Arena every now and then and just play a few rounds with new sets. So
You said after I was a kid, it kind of like after I was a night elf or after I was a paladin.
well,
I'd never
like,
heard
what
someone say it that way. No, sorry, it was just like stuck out to me. I just was like, that's an interesting
fair.
way to put it.
Well, it's because you have this idea of like when you were a kid, like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon had a popular moment in history, especially from the trading card game and for both of those.
Yeah, like most people say like when I was a kid.
After-
You say after I was a kid, like someone told you Santa wasn't real and you died that day and became a man.
Yeah, I meant it more of like the cultural movement of those trading card games,
Oh, okay.
at which I was a kid during that time, and I was really into them when everybody else was really into them. And then a lot of people like kept up with some of them afterwards, right? Like they kept up with Yu-Gi-Oh and just kept playing it. I kept up with Magic. My guilty pleasure of late has been watching some of the videos that these two guys on YouTube have been doing. And they have been essentially, one of them is a Yu-Gi-Oh player and one of them is a Magic player. My guilty pleasure for watching videos has been them reviewing the other game's cards with no knowledge of them. And they're like, what do you mean? It's free in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can just play this shit? This is wild. This thing is broken. And then the guy's like, oh no, this is a terrible card. And I'm like, oh my gosh. It's guilty pleasure. It's
You
so
activated
fun
my
to
trap
watch somebody
card.
react. Yeah. I was literally watching that before the podcast while I was working out. So,
My trap card released my Digimon. And he
Don't
ate
say it
you.
like that. Don't say it like that. Not like you have vices. You don't get to shame him.
I'm not shaming.
No, he's not. He's
No,
just,
I
Digimon
know.
was crazy though.
Digimon
I wish
is still
Digimon
crazy.
like the fact like when you look at evolutions in other ones and it's
You got banned. Sorry.
oh yeah. No, so it's like when you look at Pokemon and it's like cute rabbit turns into slightly less cute but cool rabbit, which turns into rabbit dragon. And then you have
Yes.
Digimon, where it's like cute rabbit turns into rabbit with machine guns for hands.
Yes.
Turns into straight up human smoking a cigar while killing people with chainsaws.
Yes.
Like the evolution is
Yes.
wild.
I love it. They like
so
it's like
wild.
they saw what Pokemon was doing and were like, you know what?
Yeah.
I
They
see
were
what
like,
you guys.
let's turn Argalox into a cigar chain smoking badass from the
Absolute
New York
psychopath.
streets. It's like, whoa.
Bro.
Did that Digimon just assault and murder a guy? Like, what happened?
Yes. Absolutely yes. Yes. But all of that to say, I think the one thing that I've probably put the most time in is probably money, time, effort into is music.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what would you if you don't mind putting it out into the ether,
Actually, hold on.
like
Maybe. I don't know. It might be tied. Go ahead.
okay, I was just gonna say if you're comfortable putting it out there, like what kind of time investment? I arguably it would say you don't put any monetary figures out to the public, but like time investment wise,
I could tell you how much. I mean, I could theorize just like looking at like
Yeah.
the amount of stuff that I've had to sell and or trade over the years. But I will say, Kiko, stop licking me, dude. Chill out. Anyway, I would say time wise, I'm thinking at least 800 to 1,000 hours.
this year.
This year, no. This year's probably been the worst it's been.
Okay.
I would say maybe tops like 50
But like on average, you're probably spending a few hundred hours and $500 to $1,000.
a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, maybe not 5. Yeah, a year. Yeah. But
Gotcha.
you're being too cute. I need you to stop.
The-
Okay.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I look back on it in my hobbies, and I have some crazy ones. I would say my biggest hobby is probably volleyball.
You have some crazy hobbies, Eric.
Yeah. Volleyball is
Yes.
probably insane, though. I would say easily, just to average it out, I'm probably doing, I'm going to ballpark it and say 25. And I'm probably doing that about 40 weeks of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we just take it there, let's just average it, lowball it at 20.
Yeah.
So we're looking at,
Yeah, he's gonna do the calculations. While he's
Yeah.
doing that, I'm gonna rate this whiskey.
I'm probably doing at least 1,000 hours of volleyball a year. And
You're
Most of
definitely
my-
doing more than that.
You're doing way
You're
more than
definitely
that,
doing
Eric.
more than that. You're doing way more than that.
I agree. I think so too. I'm lowballing it
Yeah.
at just like a simple multiplication of like 40 weeks a year. I'm getting around 20 to 25
Anthony,
hours in. But,
Anthony,
like,
you and I both
right.
know it's probably closer to like 1,500.
Yeah. On the last trip we were on in an Airbnb, I had to get onto Eric like a parent and be like, stop playing with the ball in the house. You're gonna break shit. You just hit the ceiling. We're gonna have to pay for that.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Then he goes
what do you think's gonna
outside and he
happen?
hits the ball into the neighbor's house like 50 times.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do. I actually have a tournament this weekend.
Go ahead, buddy.
But,
Oh.
and then monetarily, my volleyball numbers are skewed because I plan most of my trips during the year around volleyball. And if you start to count those trips, then I put a great deal of money into it.
I don't even know why we're talking about this. Sorry, I meant to say I don't even remember why we're talking about this.
Oh, yeah.
No, we were just talking about.
We were
Whiskey,
talking
guys.
about World of
Whiskey.
Warcraft time, and I was curious about how much y'all spent in time
never wanna know.
on your main hobby.
But there was a
Never
reason
wanna
before that we were talking about time and hobbies. Was it because I don't know? Feels the
That's fair.
workout stuff.
I don't know if that's the case. So, Nat, what do you think about this whiskey?
It's okay. It's
Really?
all right. Yeah. As I've sipped on it and like kind of like ruminated on it, I feel like the conversation allowed me to like just like not make a gut reaction. And over time, I'm like, this is all good and all, but like, it's really bitter
Oh,
and kind of like jarring near the end. Like the flavor palette off the top is like interesting. I'm like, I like it, but then as soon as we get into like the aftertaste, it's just like, ugh. Stop that.
I don't know. I think it's kind of malty.
I see what
You
you're.
think everything's malty, Anthony? You think everything's malty?
He does, but I honestly think that. Okay. So remember we talked a while back about not milk duds, and how they have that malty center. Mm-hmm. When that center is like melting onto your tongue, there's a flavor profile that you get. I think you get that flavor profile towards the end. Whoppers. It wasn't milk duds. It was Whoppers. Thank you.
There it is.
And at the end, when you're kind of melting that malty ganache type of deal in your mouth, there's a flavor profile you get. I think you get that same flavor profile at the end of this, towards the end, before it turns into like the after.
I'll
For me,
say
the
that.
aftertaste is all the maltiness that you're describing. It just lingers like I just ate some candy.
Do you have to? Do you have to?
It is a very sweet whiskey.
Linger.
So now, what would you rate this?
I'd give this a 3.
3?
Yeah, solid 3.
After getting us
I would
DMCA.
not. Stop. Yeah, I'd give it a 3. I'm not in love with it. It's
Okay.
one of those things where I know that chances are, maybe I needed to go ahead and give it a little bit more time. But like I've taken in a few breaks in between. I've sipped water to kind of like cleanse my palate and come at it with a new experience. Well, sorry, a cleansed palate or whatever. But it's really attractive on the nose, but after that, it has nothing for me that I really want to delve into more.
And what would you pay for it?
40.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, how do you like this whiskey?
I think it's it's pretty good.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good. It's
And
my
for
rating.
the uninitiated, Anthony doesn't believe in numerical ratings. He gives feeling. And so, pretty good corresponds to probably a 4.5.
Yeah, somewhere around a 4.5, 5. I would say 4.5. This one's more of a 4.5 than a 5. Yeah, this one's a 4.5.
Hey, I'm getting
Okay.
pretty good. I'm getting pretty good. I'm starting to feel
learn
out the
something.
You know,
rating
It's
system
time
here.
to feel you.
I'm just getting a little sad though because I haven't had one of those really good ones. You know, damn. Or
We haven't.
In a
But I
while.
will say some of our next ones, especially our New Year's Eve live show, which by the way, check us out at the YouTubes and Twitch. We'll be going live on New Year's for a special podcast episode.
wait, on
And we'll
New
be trying-
Year's or New Year's week?
One of the two will update everybody, but we're gonna try
Because the Monday is the
very-
30th. But
That's true.
we'll figure it out.
That's true. The Monday, we'll probably do it that Monday on the 30th, just for consistency's sake. But I have a very special whiskey for us to try. It'll be loads of fun.
And we're going to be
Whiskey,
trying
you
it on
say.
top of a snowy mountain in the freezing winter.
Oh.
Kappa.
Yes, it
Kappa.
will warm our
Kappa.
soul, though.
I'm just messing.
Kappa.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Oh my.
But we
So,
could.
Anthony, what would you pay for this?
I would pay $39.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the one caveat I'm going to put to this, I was not looking forward to this whiskey at all. The Jimmy Reds that I have in my cabinet are absolutely terrible. They're so bad that I re-aged one to try and make it better.
You
And-
re-aged one to try and make it better?
There is
Yes,
no
I
mint
have
in
a-
this.
I have a wooden oak barrel, and I essentially aged. I put in some sherry for a month, and then I cleaned all that out, and then I aged this for about 6 days in sherry cask, like my own little sherry oak cask.
Sherry oak.
That helped it immensely, but I don't particularly like the red corn flavor. So I'll say I haven't had a red corn whiskey that has blown my pants off yet. It just hasn't happened. And I don't think this one is there either. But I will say it is infinitely better than the other red corn whiskeys that I tried from Jimmy Red. So I have to say it isn't terrible. I could definitely drink this. So that puts it way above a 1. I don't think I'd ever buy this for myself. Still, it's not my flavor profile, but I do concede that if you like red corn, this is probably the best red corn product that I've had so far. And I haven't tried the Austin red corn whiskey, which I know
So good, man.
Nat has had, that he says is
So
amazing.
good.
So I do want to try that one. But this is probably the best red corn product that I've had so far. And I'd put it at about a 2.5, 3. I'll bump it up to 3. I don't think
You'll
I'm gonna buy
bump
this
it
for
to-
myself, but I'll drink it if somebody gets it.
I was fucking right. I was right the entire time. That's right.
Now, what I will say is for the wonderful, earth-shattering price of $80, I'm never buying this. So I don't know what they're doing with their costing.
No.
Yeah, I just don't know what they're doing with their costing profile here. Because
But why?
yeah, I don't know. I don't know why. Now, actually, you know what might be attributing to this, because I'm not 100% on this, but I was looking up, Jimmy Red, trying to see some of their details. Apparently, Jimmy, like this red corn that they're using, there was something I saw that said that it might be at risk for extinction. And so the cost of red corn whiskeys might be a little inflated because of the diminishing of red corn in general.
I don't believe in upcharging for scarcity when your product also does not taste good. Sorry.
Fair.
Sorry. I should
Fair.
probably be nicer about that, but I'm not.
Don't apologize.
Let's see. Never. Yeah. Yeah, that's really disappointing. It's unfortunate.
So what have y'all been playing this week?
Oh, just to kind of correct myself,
Oh?
apparently, and I don't know all of the details of this story. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell us a little bit more about this story. Apparently, what they're talking about there is that red corn nearly went extinct in the early 2000s. This article says that they had 2 or 3 ears of red corn that they used to bring it back. and now they're trying to revive it. So,
Okay.
You
I
know,
believe the story. Like, it's just like, I don't know.
there's a lot of feed that people get to like attract deer and bait them, and all that corn is pretty red. Just saying.
Yep.
I have a feeling that red corn is actually really cheap and not that great, and that you're looking at some marketing, really
Could
good
be.
marketing.
could be.
It's very possible.
Oh, it's
You
going
know,
extinct.
it's one of those things that is possible.
Let's just post
You
a
know?
little post about it, and everyone will believe it.
It could be. I'm not sure on the details.
There's a lot of red corn out there.
Well, this is specifically Jimmy Redcorn. I don't know the distinctual factors of
Jimmy
that.
Red Corn. That sounds like Jimmy Crack Corn.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a particular strain of
I
red
don't
corn.
smoke crack.
But yeah, I am not sure of the details there.
Google
Ash was
results
right. I should never
for
upload.
Jimmy Redcorn lies.
Jimmy Red Corn lies. He lies. He sits up on a throne of lies.
Okay, that corn actually looks really cool,
It is
but it also
very
looks
cool.
like the corn I see in deer feed.
It is blood red. Like for the audience who's never seen Jimmy Red Corn, it is like blood red, like dark blood red. It is crazy. It looks really cool. It doesn't look like typical yellow corn or even typical heirloom
Conspiracy.
corn.
Oh, Ash, straight to corn jail. for you.
Conspiracy.
A conspiracy.
Off to
you
corny
say.
jail.
Off to corny jail for you, Ash. What have
What-
you guys been
What-
playing?
I'm sorry, but what would happen if you popcorned Jimmy Redcorn? Would it be red popcorn?
It would not be red. No.
So I've been playing this game called Pokemon Yellow. Some more, which has been good.
We talked about that last week. How do you like it now? Have you played Yellow or since you were an adult, or is this the first time you're really playing one of the classic Pokemon games as an adult?
So I have Pokemon Red, and it is in my Game Boy Advance, and I took a picture of it this weekend and sent it to you guys because when I went to boot it up, for some reason, the save file's name was Eric with
Savage.
the spelling that you use with 15 hours of game time.
I mean, it's a good game.
So-
15 hours is casual numbers, to be fair. But we went on plenty of trips together, so I'm sure I just played.
Save
on
file gone.
Wow.
What if I captured something amazing?
Dude, it's red. You didn't capture anything
What?
amazing.
No, you shush. What Pokemon
Okay.
were on my account?
I didn't
Did you
even
check?
log in. I was so upset.
Oh my god.
Oh wow.
I'm kidding. I was just laughing.
Okay, Anthony, you should have just definitely checked.
I'll check.
You
I'll
can't
check
be
at
too
some point.
careful with that kind of stuff.
I'll report back next week.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
But no, it's my first time playing
my
Pokemon
God.
Yellow specifically. Yeah, I mean, I recognize almost everything, but of course there's the really cool differences where like, hey, you have Charmander now. Hey, you have Bulbasaur now. Like that's really fun and cool. Because from what I've heard, there's no other games that do that. It's actually challenging. You actually have to level things up. You can actually lose, like, which is neat. And having it on the emulator with the fast forward mode is fantastic because it's not a super slow like game. It's just 5 times faster than it was, and it's just like zoom, 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 zoom. So that's been cool.
I will say,
Wait, so you
as-
played red and you just said that you got all of the starters?
No, I'm on Yellow right now on an emulator. And because of Yellow
Got it.
and its awesomeness, I'm
You
getting
get
the
all
starters.
of the starters. Yeah. It's pretty sick.
Yeah, I love that. And I've heard that there aren't any others that do that,
Nope.
which is so sad.
yeah.
But
I
then
will
they-
say with
yeah.
adult me knowing all of the programming nuances of Pokemon, which is just the nerd in me who has watched way too many videos of Pokemon speedrunners and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Not knowing how to abuse the original Pokemon makes it so like actually a really enjoyable experience as like a game.
But then you figure out how to abuse it, and you're like, oh,
Oh
wow, items are broken, man.
oh, there's a lot of broken stuff in the first three. It's
Yeah.
like crazy.
Yeah.
Because they use a lot of, you know,
Spaghetti.
255 index slots with one memory and a final tail bit. And so if you get any stat above that, it wraps around and turns into 0, and all kinds of weird stuff happens. There's a lot
It's a
of
good
weird
time.
stuff.
It's a good time.
A lot of weird
way to
quirks
drop some jargon, Eric.
Hey,
Our listeners don't know what you're talking about. God. Anyway.
fun stuff.
Anyway,
What have you been playing? What have you been playing? What else have you been
I
playing?
also
Go ahead.
I probably played Sea of Thieves. It's an absolute joke. I don't know if I definitely talked about this maybe on our like gaming stream, but they recently implemented a very new mechanic to the game that is like never been implemented anywhere before, and it's crouching. And crouching broke the game so bad that they had to remove it because it led to invincibility exploits and other weird exploits. So yeah, you can't get that right the first time because no one knows how to do that. It's not like there's any game dev in the world that knows how to implement
Interesting.
crouching.
That's almost as bad as the New World. If you try to move the browser, like the window on Windows, it locks your game state and makes you invulnerable. Like,
Yeah,
Bro.
what are we doing?
ridiculous.
Bro.
But other than that, in the game that y'all know I've been playing with you guys, I actually booted up Star Citizen again, and it has been a very long time. And it was really cool because there's so many differences. Instead of like going to the assigned hangar, you have your own hangar now. And it's your hangar, and then you like summon your ship, and you can summon multiple ships and put them together, and you can like summon other things, and then when you leave and come back, the hangar is exactly how you left it and stuff like that. So that's pretty much all I got to experience though, because I didn't have much time for it. But it was really cool, and they really cleaned up the UI a lot. So like when you're doing ship combat, it used to get a little messy. Now it's just so much better. Like they've made things what's the word, uniform for like pretty much everybody, I think, where you've got like your ship in the very top left corner and their ship in the very top right with like its health and its shields and stuff, so they're like out of the way. And then you've got like your speedometer and altitude stuff like out of the way as well. And then you've got what you're looking at and shooting in the middle, and that's pretty much it, except for maybe like some lines that help you know what weighs what, so you don't get like disoriented. And yeah, and that's really cool. Oh, and you can like easily zoom in, like if you're like scoping in to see better details, because with big ships you can shoot out parts of them, like you could take out an engine, or you could take out the coolant system or something like that. So that's been fun. That's been interesting. I've been very curious because they had the con recently, and they're about to release, or hopefully they're about to release, but they've been testing their people have access to their server meshing with the pyro system and stuff, with the jump gates and whatnot. So I'm like looking forward to being able to play with that and stuff like that. Yeah, it's been good.
Nice.
But then there's been WoW, which has been a love and hate relationship, because it's so much fun to go and do like the new BFD raid that we did, or BRD raid that we did, and it was challenging and interesting, and then people leave, and you don't get to actually continue and complete it because they give up so early.
Yeah, I think I also said it earlier. I can't remember if it was while we were doing the podcast earlier or before. today, like earlier today. But it's one of WoW is so good, it's frustrating because it's so close to being better than it like better at everything, and it misses the mark on just a number of things. Like the anniversary update is very controversial. I don't know if y'all have kept up
I
with
want to
any of
know
the
about
news.
that because I saw YouTube videos titling that. They're like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
so many people are mad," and I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what?"
It's very controversial for a few key reasons. And I think for anybody involved, the Taliesin and Evertel video really talks about it and says something that I think is key to the public's reaction being way, way over the top of how bad it is. I do think it misses the mark on a few key details,
Is it because of
which
the
make it
is
feel
it because
bad.
of the dinosaur?
The dinosaur is a huge part of it, I think,
Yep.
but I think it's more that the dinosaur is like insult to injury. Like, for
Oh
example,
yeah, I heard that you used to be able to get a less good mount for 5 million in-game gold, and you had to grind the crap
Yeah.
out of it before it went
Yeah.
away.
Yes.
And now you can
Yes.
buy one for less gold
For
because
$90.
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you trade
But-
the your money for WoW tokens, you can get that $90.
but even then, here's the thing I would say. If patch 11.05 was amazing and was flawless in every other way, the mount wouldn't matter. People wouldn't care.
So what are
like-
people upset about?
Genuinely.
So there are a few key things. One of them is if you go in and do your weekly quests for
Oh, to
the
get the new
20th
tokens?
anniversary, to get the new tokens, which is
Yeah.
kind of your tracker. Like you do 20th anniversary thing, you get tokens, and those tokens give you prizes.
Yeah.
And it feels very arcade-ish, and that's totally fine. It's like a little festival arcade celebrating the 20th anniversary.
But you have to play every
And
single
that
day,
part-
don't you?
Yes.
Well, no, it's mostly the fact that after the first day, it becomes worthless to grind out and go back to that until the next week.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
interesting.
what happens is you finish your 20th anniversary stuff in like one day, and then you don't go back there on that character again for a week. And so what ends up happening is you do all the 20th anniversary stuff, and then you go back to what you've been grinding until next week. And the problem I think Taliesin and Evitel talk about this. They're like, that really wouldn't matter if they just gave us some more stuff for a true 0.05 release. This is a unique 0.05 release in that previous expansions in a 0.05 release, they usually unlock a little bit more of the story. They build into the 0.1 release, right? The 0.05 releases, 05, 15, and 25, usually add a little quest line, add a little bit
to
of
continue
story,
the
add a little
narrative.
bit of changes and balance things, and it keeps you kind of on that like grind of being like, oh, what's going to happen next? What's going to do this? It gives you something exciting. You go in for the anniversary event, then you're excited for WoW, then you go in to do a little bit more of the story. You unlock and you have plenty of content to kind of get you through like 2 weeks of that and kind of be excited for it. The problem is it feels like, and the general perception, I'm not saying this is true or not true, but every review I've seen on the 0.05 release this time was
That's it.
they just spend it all in the anniversary release, which you're done with in a day.
Yeah.
And now what should have been a huge patch to last you until 0.1, content-wise, lasts you a
Done.
day.
Yeah.
And then you're done with it. And none of that is connected. So here's another great example that they pulled. There are people that are playing this game that are really coming back to WoW right now for the story that they are pushing in War Within. They're coming back for this story.
Oh yeah, that's why I come back for sure.
Metzen pushed way back in the day, and now we're finally starting to get these pieces to it, and that's really exciting. And a lot of people are like, that's really cool. I am here for that. And now they just spent months working on a 0.05 release that we're going to be stuck with until the new year for most of your playing time until the new year. And that release has nothing to do with any of that. It is separate entirely and has no concept or connection to the story for this expansion. And so it feels disjointed to a lot of people, and a lot of people fall into one of two camps. There are people that are excited for the anniversary stuff, do it, and then they're kind of let down because they can't just keep doing it. They get to do a little bit of it, and then I'm back next week, I guess. That feels weird. And then you have the people that want to do the War Within stuff, and this expansion gave them nothing. And they're like, well, this feels bad, I guess. I don't want to do any of the anniversary stuff. And they're like, neither one of those feels good for most people. And then you add a little bit of insult to injury with some bad design decisions for the content that did come. For example, why is the raid a time walking raid that you can't fill halfway through, especially when you consider that this is harder than most time walking raids?
That's so weird.
And when people leave, you have to like leave the dungeon, restart it. And I understand that this is and I understand that this is kind of like the other time walking raids do this, but honestly, I feel like they should just nix that system, because if Ulduar was, or any time walking raid was the difficulty that it should be and had a LFR normal and heroic mode, and you had these difficulty levels to them and they were difficult, the WoW community in the way that it is right now needs to be able to refill that group easily. Otherwise, nobody's going to do that raid after like a week of doing it.
Yeah,
the only people that are going to do this raid are guilds, and they have no reason to do it because it doesn't offer tiered gear. It doesn't offer them new cosmetics that they don't already have. Most people have grinded out the Blackrock Depth cosmetics.
Well,
and the gear isn't
competitive gear, doesn't it? At Heroic?
Yeah, but most of the guilds are doing mythics.
That's fair.
And you're not going to go in and do Pug Heroic. So most guilds, guess what? Like most guilds that I've seen on Twitch that are running this, they ran it once. They beat it, and they're never going to touch it again. What does it give you? It doesn't do anything. And that's really sad.
Not even good-looking gear either.
So the crazy,
it could have been a transmog Fisher kind of thing where like they rehash like
this raid is super cool, super interesting, and has some awesome mechanics that I really like in it. And just due to the way, well, even the 7, after looking into it, like it's a complex fight, but it's entirely doable with the right group. But you have to be able to refill so that you can get the right group who's willing to stick around and like
learn the fight,
plan it out and learn the fight. And the problem is the way the system is designed right now, no pug is going to get through Blackrock Depths for a few weeks. Every guild is going to do it. They're going to put out guides. People are going to read those guides, and people won't do it later because they'll be like, this is too complicated for no benefit.
dude,
for lackluster reward.
So
for sure.
what's crazy to me is that right now WoW is really fun mechanically. The
100%,
gameplay
100%.
is great. The challengingness of the raids and stuff is really cool.
Yeah.
The rewards are shit.
Yeah, they're just all over the place.
Eric and I did Zekthir the other day. We duoed it. It was really hard. It was really challenging. It was really cool. We got literally nothing. Yeah. You go and do raid progression, you get literally nothing.
Yeah. And I was telling Anthony while we were doing it, after we did it, why that happened. And that's
it's a mistake.
People abused that system.
People abused it from before.
But the problem is that system should never have been abusable. Zekthir should just drop loot on a weekly basis, similar to the normal raid or
Yeah.
something like that. And the
Easy,
question
done.
mark one should drop you one piece of loot every week at the heroic raid level, right? They're about equivalent. It's like a 2-man normal raid and a 2-man, heroic raid. And it's super fun, and it gives you a heroic piece or a normal raid piece, and you call it a day. And you can only get one a week. You can't abuse that. And 616 is near heroic level gear anyways, so you have to do the harder version of Zekfir to get it.
The delve 616 gear in the vault
It's
is
so
what
weird.
ruins
So
pretty
weird.
much everything.
100%.
It is an
I actually
easy
think
thing
that is one of the
that
problems.
gives really high gear, and then everything else is challenging and hard and doesn't give you anywhere near as good of a gear reward.
Yeah.
But I think
do
they
think
are
the 616
they are definitely pandering to the fact that they know people are finding it harder and harder to get into guilds that actually do content together. Like,
Also,
But see,
I
here's
can tell you full stop that like most people who actually come into this game for the first time, when they join a guild, they're like, "Oh, this is cool and fun," but there's no unless you're already of the mindset where you know that you're going to be creating a community within there, you're not going to be engaging with them in the way
But
that.
here's the problem I have with that though, Nat. I think with a few design changes, and this is just me, and I talked to Anthony about this earlier. I think with a few small design changes, they could push the game into the right spot and keep most of the ideologies that is in retail WoW that make it
Dude.
less socially like connective. I think there are some things that they could do that would just fix all of these issues.
Wait.
And it wouldn't prevent the game from being like, oh, I can just jump into a raid. I can just jump into Mythics. I can do all these things. I feel like there's so like that's the frustrating part for me
dude,
is that I feel like they're so close to perfecting a lot of these things right now, and they're just missing it by a little. And because of how little that distance is, but how big the impact is, it's just you feel it. It's
jarring.
frustrating.
Nat just gave me a crazy idea that for like first time I've had this thought. What if guilds
Okay.
were like actual guilds? Right now, guilds are like a small community, just larger than the size of a raid. What if a guild was like the Thieves Guild, and it was 5,000 members, no cap, right? And within the guild, people wanted to climb the ranks and they wanted to become like the top. They wanted to be in like the S tier rating group, but they had to work their way up and within, the lower groups. And you just have a huge pool of people that have a, maybe a similar play style or something like that. And the management maybe comes from the game, not from random dude that's in charge of things. It comes from almost like the corporation, the thieves council, whatever type of thing. Yeah. That would add a whole nother layer and kind of solve some problems where it's just like, I don't know.
I think something like that could be cool. I think I've replaced most of like right now, I do most of my heroic rating and stuff, like really, with like a community that just had a cool guy. And at the end, when we successfully did the raid, he was like, oh, I'll just add y'all to my community. And they just, whenever a bunch of people are on, they're like, hey, anybody want to do the raid? And they just create a group. And everybody there is added to the community whenever they're like every time they successfully finish a raid, they add everybody who was there to the community because you just beat the raid. Obviously, you're good enough to do it.
You can stay. Yeah. Pretty much is what they say.
Yeah. And so like stuff like that is really cool when you find it. It's just finding that right now that
it's nigh on impossible.
I will say that I'm working my way through the heroic Nerebar Palace. It's a lot of fun.
It's a cool like the fights are like design has never been an issue for this game.
Oh yeah. Rating is the rating has always rating at the heroic and mythic levels has always, in my opinion, been just really close to like a finely tuned machine. The team that does the raids and the mechanics, outside of a few edge cases, they create fun experiences. Not saying they're always perfect, but
they're fun.
they're fun.
Yeah.
They do what they should be doing.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think it really comes down to, in my opinion, if there's a team on the at Blizzard who is like the retention rate team, they're the ones that are screwing the game the most. Because every mechanic that is designed with the intent of keeping you in the game, forcing you to be in the game longer, instead of making the game immersive and enjoyable enough that you want to be there longer, they're the ones fucking up.
Yeah.
Because every mechanic where it's like, oh, but you could just do more of this to get this.
No.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We don't need that.
It's predatory.
Nobody. And do you know how many hours people spent in Classic WoW? And Classic WoW had none of that. Like,
Got it.
I'm not saying everything was perfect in Classic WoW, but it required none of those retention mechanics to keep people playing. Everybody just wanted to do the cool shit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying all the cool shit was fun to do and like there wasn't grinding, or that there weren't other things that were like not entirely fun, but you had to go and do it. But there weren't mechanics built into the game designed with the intent of, we're going to drain every hour out of you to make you want to do this more.
Because it's what stops me from eventually. But I can already feel like I'm like kind of petering out with this game. Like I can feel it. I'm like, this was fun and all, but I can't put in the time necessary to like get it going the way that it's supposed to.
Yeah.
And it's never been the striving to even be in the group. It's the people that I'm with in the group. Like,
yeah, all I want to do right now is like do the raids with you guys or something like that. Like that's really fun.
Yeah,
they're fun in themselves.
If there was, and if there was if there was like seven more equivalent Nats, Anthony's, and Eric's in the same group, then like sure, we could figure it out. But like with 7 more people comes 7 more schedules.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Maybe like one day too, we could have a Taphaven raids, and just invite the community. But
that would be cool.
I don't think I'm ready to scream at people like that.
Don't worry, I'd be good. I'd do it. But
he's like, no, don't worry, I got it.
It is one of those things where everything's said and done. I think WoW's in a really good place right now. I think it's the best it's been in a long time. Is it perfect? No. But that same statement always just claws at the back of my mind. It has my favorite mechanic to do in gaming. Like, I think I was doing it the other night and I was raiding Heroic, and we did a 2-2-6 raid. So there were only 10 of us doing Heroic Nerevar. And I was sitting there and it was me and another healer keeping everybody alive. And everything just got into a flow state. And everybody's just doing the mechanics. Everybody's just meshing together. You see like everybody moving as a group, and it just like all clicked. All the neurons were firing. All the dopamine was rushing. We were getting like perfect heals off. I would heal this guy. That guy would instantly heal the other guy that was dying at the near same time. Like everything was just popping off. And like, it's so satisfying because it's like, one, validating. You're like, oh my gosh, yeah. This isn't a group where we have 6 healers and I could theoretically like do nothing. It's like, no, if I stop healing or this guy stops healing, we're all dead.
We're all dead.
And if the tanks mess up or if one DPS dies, we're like fucked, right? We have so little room for error. Everything's just lining up and everybody's in a flow state with these bosses. And it's just like click, 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 click. Man, there's no gaming experience that really highlights
that.
that's
No.
even close. And
True.
that's
I was
in
gonna
part
battle that, but no, you're right.
yeah, in part that's why I'm like, oh yeah, I don't know, the game's in such a good state right now. Just knowing my history, I'm like, when 11.1 comes out and they release a new raid, I'll probably run through heroic in 11.1. I'll probably do the heroics for this whole expansion, and then if they start tapering off or the new expansion isn't good, then I'll be like, whatever. But for the time investment you have to do into heroic, at least, and to get your AOTC, which I think is just a really fun experience.
Ridiculous, man.
Well, for the AOTC, it's not that ridiculous. If you don't do mythic, you're good. You can pretty much do the heroic raid at like the gear we have now, and you don't need to get any better, and
True.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, yeah,
For
you're right.
mythic, you have to sit there and grind heroics week on end. You have to do mythic plus. You have to do all of these upkeep things. You have to make sure you buy all your flasks. You have to grind money to get your potion, like all that kind of shit for mythic. That's too much time investment for me. I'm not unless we as a group get 7 other people and start doing it as like a 10-man that we go in together on. That's just not something
It's not gonna happen.
that's going to happen for me unless we sit down and do it as a community. But for the heroics, that's well within reach because we can already do it.
Yeah.
And so to sit down and be like, oh, if I get 40 hours of playtime or 60 hours of playtime, every time they release a big patch that I get to go and get my AOTC for the new raid on. Right now, WoW is in a fun enough state to where I think I'm getting my money's worth out of it to do that, Like there is no game that offers that experience that I got from doing the heroic 10-man. Like there's just no other game on the market that does that for me. So
Heard. I haven't been playing anything, guys. Just gonna tell you straight up. It's just been WoW, unfortunately.
Well,
I feel like maybe it's also because I've been playing it too much.
That's fair. I mean, it's in a good state right now. Like, there's no shame.
I mean, there kind of is.
Hey, I will say I think I have found one of my playing games. My Steam Deck comes in tomorrow.
Oh.
There is a game that I am looking forward to, and I want to talk about because I know we've played one of these games together, and I don't know how much I'll remember of that. It was back when we were all in college. So on October 31st, BioWare is releasing Dragon Age: The Veilguard.
No.
Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've been playing Dragon Age since I was a young lad.
A young lad.
A young lad back in the day.
Barely above,
Barely 8 years old.
some would say, old.
The memories are lost to time.
Some would say, who are you?
So I absolutely loved the Dragon Age games for the most part. So Dragon Age Origins was, oh my gosh, a classic. Dragon Age 2, fantastic. I loved them. So for the audience who doesn't know, or if y'all haven't played them, they kind of play a lot like Baldur's Gate 3, right? It's usually a turn-based game. Now that changed with Inquisition. And we played Inquisition in college. I don't know how much y'all remember of that, but it became more like a Smite type of play style where you have these abilities, you use these abilities, and it's kind of like a third-person MMO pseudo tab location target type of deal. It kind of played like Guild Wars 2 in how you did things. Dragon Age Inquisition was very different. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't as classic as the originals. The story was still pretty good, but I went through and played a lot of that. I know I beat that one. I think the Dragon Age games are really have all been very different, unique, and exciting. This is going to be a hot take. Internet, don't crucify me. Like, it'll be okay.
Oh,
You'll survive it.
Don't do this.
I think that BioWare might, in general, be better at creating characters, just
Than
characters,
games.
just their development, than Larian. I love Larian. I love Baldur's Gate 3. Game of the year, easy. Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing.
Wait.
However, I think BioWare in general creates better characters. Not saying their games are better, not saying their mechanics are better, not saying that their choices are better, just that their character stories are a little bit better. I think Larian has a little bit of the fuck me because I'm a side character vibe, and BioWare has a little bit of like the I'm cool and awesome and you should be interested in the story that I have.
That's fair. That's fair. That's
like
fair. These are
right?
all valid
It's
points.
fair, right?
These are all valid
Tell me
points.
which Larian character doesn't try to fuck you after 20 minutes of talking to them.
Look, man.
But it's also easier to do that when you have like a linear story versus a story that changes based on what you say or do.
That's fair. I am not again not throwing shade to Larian. They did they created a masterpiece in Baldur's Gate 3. The storytelling branches are wonderful. I am not by any means arguing that their game is not more complex, because it is. It's just that I do think that the BioWare characters have a lot of fine tuning in how their character develops over the story. That is definitely because they don't have as many branching paths, so they can like tweak it a little bit more. But I tend to like the characters in BioWare more. Like, I'm more invested in their storylines than I am in Baldur's Gate 3 or other Larian games.
Sorry, I'll talk about it later.
Okay. But yes, Veilguard is coming out, and I am super excited because it comes out on the 31st, which is, of course, on Thursday, which means I will be able to play it and get all the reviews, and I'll probably download, and that'll be something that I play on the Steam Deck, hopefully,
Incredible.
during the flight.
So you just reminded me that, as y'all know, are very, very, very aware, I generally prefer mechanics over story for a game. I'm like, oh, I want the bike riding to be fantastic. Now, I don't think I've had a
need to ride
chance
the
to
bike
talk to you
real good.
guys about the, I don't think I had watched it, but we talked about how Star Citizen showed the first like hour and 15 minutes of their single player Squadron 42 game.
Squadron 42. Yeah.
I started watching that and I was like, yes. First off, they did a great job of showing people this so that they know whether or not to buy the game. Because there was like maybe 45 minutes probably of story and cinema and maybe 30 minutes of you playing the game. And that's an important thing to know before you buy the game. Now, the way they do it, I'm actually interested because it is so much more of a movie than a game. It's like, okay, this is a really good movie. And by the way, when action happens, you're the hero. You get to save the day. You get to do the thing. And so far, there's not like, oh, you're going to actually spend like 15 minutes watching a thing and then 2 hours collecting useless junk in a zone before you unlock the next zone, which is completely unrelated. It's like, no. Amazing movie. Awesome action. Amazing more movie. Awesome action. And I'm like, that is a good way to do that. And that's like something that I know you're going to hate this, but I was so enthralled with the story of God of War. And then I had to do all of this BS in between more story bites. And I'm like, if you're going to do epic, awesome God of War story stuff, please just do more of that. Let me do the fights. I don't want to go solve the puzzles and collect all the things and upgrade my armor. I don't give a shit. Movie and action. That's it. Like, that's a great combination, I think. Movie and action.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where we're at a time kind of going forward that, especially for popular games, there needs to be this kind of AAA divide, and AAA isn't doing this yet.
Okay.
AAA game developers have enough money, time, and resources that they can do cool things with how they catch all of the possibilities of players. And what I mean by that is they can go in and say, for like a Tomb Raider game, they can be like, hey, do you want to deal with craft? Like, here's the mechanics in our game. Check which ones you want to interact with, or give us, like, you can skip the interaction of this entirely, right? If you don't like the puzzles just are auto solved by your character. If you don't like the story, you can skip the cinematics. If you don't care about the dialogue, you can skip the dialogue.
Skip the whole
if you
game.
don't care,
Just
100%.
Just don't play. Just don't play. You know.
This is
don't play.
something where there are also the people who play through some of these games who mechanically don't want to deal. Like, a great example is like Horizon Zero Dawn or things like that. They don't want to do the fights and mechanics of like the Tomb Raider style
just want to
game.
watch the show.
They just want to see the storyline. They love the characters. They love the idea of the world, and that's what they care about. So what do? They have a story mode where you interact with very little of the combat. There aren't extra mobs everywhere. You see a mob every now and then, but when you do have to interact with them, it's just super easy. And AAA developers especially, I feel, have the capability to start broaching in to the idea of tailoring the experience to whatever player they have. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be doable for a long time, at least, until we have more tooling at like the developer modding scene for like Unity, Godot, and things like that, where people build this tooling out for other developers, which currently doesn't just, it happens a little bit, but not to this degree yet, but I think it will.
No.
I think we're still like 5 to 10 years out for that. But AAA developers have the resources, I think, to start broaching these ideas, and they're just not. And I think that's because they're just on their high horse still.
Dude, it's also
my
money,
experience is what I'm designing for the game, and this is how I think the game should be played. Therefore, this is how you're going to experience it. And I'll give you a difficulty slider.
I don't know. To
just
me,
because.
most of them aren't like what you just described. I'm sure there are some, but to me, most of them are like, still, how many of the features of the last really popular game can we put in? How much Skyrim can we make this? How much Witcher 3 can we make this? Like, that's not...
No, I'm not saying that they're doing that. I'm saying they have the capability to start breaching in to that great design that we're talking about. They aren't doing it. I agree. No,
I think
AAA
one of the
developer is doing it correct.
I think one of the potential reasons that they aren't doing it is because too many, like, you know, too many chefs in the kitchen.
Oh, 100%.
Squadron 42 has a lot of people working and contributing, but it has like one leader, right?
Well,
Chris Roberts is like the director, I think, basically.
I actually
I'm not
think
sure
just
if that's
from
true.
us being in the developer world, my conjecture would be that it takes more work for senior staff, and they don't have enough senior staff because junior staff is cheaper for AAA developers. So like I can pay 50 junior developers instead of one senior developer. I can give teams of 10 of them. I can now have teams of 10 design 10 different or 5 different systems for this game. Those systems are going to be so separate, non-conjoining, and so different in how they act, feel, interact, because though, like, I just paid 50 people and broke them up into groups of 10. If you want to have those teams be even better and create 10 systems or 5 systems that interact with each other in a way that would do something like I said, where you can turn them off, have systems of integration, be able to interact with it based on a player by player, you know, basis, Now you have to have a team in on top of those. It is a much more senior team. They have to know the inner workings of each system. They have to be able to capably deal with all of those.
Yeah.
And then I have to pay them almost what the entire team is worth for like one of them, right? Because I can hire that, like AAA developers are starting junior developers at like less than 50K.
Yeah.
And one senior developer
would
at
I
a
pay-
AAA development company, they're like, no, I'm leaving unless you give me 250 to 300. So for what it costs 5 junior developers for one senior developer, like I can
Why
tell
would
you
I
right now,
ever?
every executive on the board is like, I don't care about the inner working system. We just need to have it because these other games do well. And like, that's how it is right now. Like, that's my conjecture. That's what I think is happening. You have an exec that's like, I'm not paying for that middle level. It doesn't, like, they can live with it, you know? That's what I think they're saying.
I honestly would also tend to believe that yes, it's a money thing, but it's also like it's a comfort thing. Like why would you ever consider putting more stuff on your plate for the consumer when the entire point of your company is to make you more money? And that seems to be the mindset of most.
For AAA, I believe that's the mindset for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's not the right mindset.
That's not the
but
right mindset, but
it is
the
what I see
predominant
happening.
mindset.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
If we were talking about a company that didn't care more about money, then why would WoW ever put in cosmetic mounts that you can buy?
Yeah.
Right? Why not have the same cosmetic mounts put into the game that you can earn, which people will then want to spend more time in your game for? Right?
No.
Right?
No.
One of them
No.
Cost of
is
that might be
obviously
insane.
better for the life of the game, and one of them gets you so much money that it's not even funny. And one of them's better for the consumer and one of them's not. That's
It's
simple.
absolutely insane that
I
that
mean-
thing exists.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a cool mount, but the fact that it's $90
Bro.
Yeah, it's
Is
insanely bad.
insanity.
It's bad business practice, to be honest.
No, it
Oh,
isn't a bad business.
It's not
practice.
business because it's been very successful. I'm
that
I'm
that
wrong.
mount made them. Here's the thing: that mount, I would go on record saying that if I had to guess, that mount paid the salary of every developer who worked on War Within single-handedly for the time they worked on War Within.
really
by itself. I
You think it was that
guarantee you.
successful?
Oh, 100%. If that mount didn't make them over $1 million, I would be
You're
absolutely
surprised.
surprised.
Yeah.
And I almost guarantee that it made way more than that. You have to remember a mount from years ago, one of the first mounts they ever released, back when the game had half of its current player base. And it made more money than Diablo 4 has to date on sales. That one mount way back then, this mount made enough. Like, it's just wild.
You know what's even crazier, though? Look at it.
What?
It's
Yeah.
a giant dinosaur. They have
It's
had
a big
this.
old dinosaur, man.
They have been sitting on this since Battle for Azeroth.
Forever.
Oh,
They have
it's
been
just a
waiting to
reskin.
release it until they had the right number of players to make the most money off of
Yeah.
it.
100%.
they made that
This
model
is a
in
reskin
BFA.
of a previous mount. Yeah.
Or they
didn't know that
literally
they
made it in BFA. No, I'm speculating.
Yeah.
I'm speculating
Oh, okay.
No,
that this was finished, not reskinned, finished by
Oh, I
someone
see.
in
I see.
BFA. And they decided it's not the right time to release it to make the most money off of it. Let's wait.
Well,
Fucking
just from
terrifying, man.
thinking about how a lot of the art design process, like I used to watch this guy on Twitch a lot, and he would do 3D modeling, especially when I was practicing Blender every day and like getting into more 3D modeling. I used to watch this guy on Twitch who used to work for Blizzard, and he talked a bunch about how he was taught to do process in Blizzard and like kind of how it worked. And when he would do 3D modeling for Blizzard in particular, and most companies do this, this is not just a Blizzard specific thing. Usually what happens is they create this layering model, and this is graphic design in general because of how digital art works, but it's for 3D modeling too. They'll create a base model, and they'll usually go through and create 20 to 40 different variations of every layer. And all of that is kind of turned in, and whoever's above you, your senior director or something like that, will go in and pick the model that they want for then. But all of those reskins and variations are kept for future reference. So what you're saying, Anthony, like, I think is true, but I don't think I would wager to guess that a lot of the work was just done as the initial artwork. And they were like, oh, if we ever want to do reskins for this, we have 40 different options. And maybe we'll release it again one day when people forget about this one and we have a bunch of influx of characters. Like, I don't think it was.
Well, it's just fun speculation. I was gonna say that on the opposite
I think
side.
you're right. I just think it was less predatory. I think it was like the business practice in
that
general
was just fun
of how
speculation.
art is done in the industry does it. Yeah.
I was just having fun conspiracy theory. On the other spectrum, though, it's like they were thinking, what is the largest mount we can make without it being completely obnoxious? Because this costs $90. It needs to be but this one's bigger. How do we make it bigger but not too big? Oh, long neck, really tall instead of really wide. You know,
long neck.
People love more unique, bigger mounts.
Yeah, everyone can see from a mile away.
Like, the mount doesn't really mean anything anymore because of dragon riding. And I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just saying dragon riding's fun, but the mount really doesn't mean anything. The only thing it does, it's a trophy that you get to show off while you're sitting in that main area.
And guys, I'm not a big, like, I like to flex whenever I do have something, but like, it's not enough.
Not anymore. No. Here's the thing. There is nothing in WoW that you can do right now that is a cool flex.
That's fucked.
There just isn't. There literally.
It's just not going to happen.
Back in the day when we were in Burning Crusade.
Yeah.
How many? Let me look this up because
you could wear something that was like, I am impressive because I did this. Now you can't really do that.
Yeah. There's a certain gravitas to any task that you've completed.
Yeah.
So let's see.
One of the things that bothers me is that like there's really cool cosmetics in WoW that I want, and similarly, even in like Sea of Thieves, there's cool cosmetics that I want, but still, I'm not gonna like. I would like to get them, but I am not so compelled to get them that I will just keep playing the game until that happens. It's more like if it happens, awesome. But if not, well, whatever. Like they got really cool anniversary stuff. Yeah?
There's a problem with that.
How so?
Yeah. So, for example, the Sunwell Plateau, kill Jaden. Just for reference. Kind of get a feel for this. There were over 10 million people that were subscribed to WoW when Kill Jaden was released, the Sunwell Plateau, the last raid boss in the Burning Crusade.
Uh-huh.
Only 377 guilds completed Kill Jaden.
I think you love this stat so much.
I mean, that's fair. but it's insane to consider. And here's the thing: it was less than that for the Kel'Thuzad in WoW Classic. It's just how it worked, how the release schedule worked. You know, he was only there for 2.5, 3 months.
But everybody
before Wrath of the Lich King came out.
But he was so cool.
It was so difficult to get done with that raid that it wasn't like Queen Ansarak where people were like, oh, I killed Queen Ansarak on Heroic. Oh, I killed Queen Ansarak. So many people have killed Queen Ansarak on Mythic that it's insane the amount of people that have done it already, right? The only thing that matters is the race. The first few weeks, who killed it first?
Yeah, you get that
Back
from
then?
Go ahead.
Back then, just the fact that you killed him put you into a group of people so small in comparison. Having just a piece of gear from that guy was the biggest flex because nobody on your server, there were less than one guild per server that completed Kill Jaden. Because
You're
there
royalty.
were,
You're the closest thing to royalty.
yes, like that was awesome. And it's not because Kill Jaden was like insanely hard. It was mostly a time investment thing. But like that's all like MMOs are. Like that is the flex. Like you did it. Other people couldn't stay around and couldn't put the time into it. And I'm not saying that makes them better. It just that is cool. The fact that you're part of that club made it special. And that doesn't happen in current day WoW. That doesn't happen in the re-release of WoW Classic either. Like WoW Classic was amazing and I loved it, but because the game was already solved, people had been theory crafting about a release of Classic again, what would be the best thing to do. Because of all that, it was a solved game. It was
There's
different.
no mystique.
There's no mystique.
Yeah.
We're not going to get these 377 guilds. You can never take away the fact that they did something that nobody else could do with no knowledge. There weren't guides. There weren't anything. They just did it. That's
Leroy.
cool. Yeah.
Leroy.
One
Yeah.
of the best videos.
One of.
But yeah, I'm excited for the new Dragon Age.
Oh my god.
All the way to the back. All the way back. We're nothing if not consistent. We're gonna come back. We're gonna get there. I don't know how long it's gonna take us, but we're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, friends,
Yeah.
I don't
guess
have
with
anything
that-
else to say.
Y'all want to go play some WoW?
I mean,
I wish I'm about to go do some Gloomhaven.
Oh no.
Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven.
Yes. We are almost done. I haven't talked about Gloomhaven in a while. I play it weekly. I think we
Wait, you
only
said-
have like 20 encounters left in the possibility of the game space.
Wait, so are you gonna stop playing?
We're gonna keep the group. We're hoping that we'll
Never
have
mind.
a Frosthaven or something, but we're probably gonna keep the gaming group and switch to another game after we 100% Gloomhaven. But we're probably gonna 100% Gloomhaven before we move on to another game.
Garbage. Hot garbage.
Yep.
You shall
Okay.
leave us to our own devices. You disgust me.
Yes. Some sad news. I'm gonna talk to the guys about a reschedule for next week because I won't be here
On Monday?
next week.
He's
So
abandoned us.
yes, I'll be in Vegas. Fun times.
Doing Vegas things.
Yes,
Disgusting.
like fighting people.
Like fighting people. Wait. What?
I'm going for the judo world champs. So I'm going.
No,
there to fight.
I understood that part. Anyway, continue.
So I'll talk to the guys. We might get rescheduled and do another live show sometime this week if we get some time. Otherwise, I'll see you when I get back. But
Maybe.
yeah, either way, we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Be good to yourselves. Goodbye.
Peace.
I said goodbye.
Oh.